Hey, this is Paige Rutledge, and my latest single, Dive Bar Romeo, is out now on all streaming platforms. This is On the Porch with Front Porch Music.
I know, I really want to come to Ontario. My hard ticket sales wouldn't be as high there. But-
There's
but
only one way to start getting them though, is to show up.
I know, we actually have been talking about that.
I'd buy a ticket.
Thank you. I'd probably give you a comp.
That's the answer I wanted to hear.
What's in there? I don't know.
Welcome back to another episode of On the Porch with Front Porch Music. Do 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 do.
This week on the pod, we have another repeat offender joining us for the second time. We've had a couple people from previous seasons join us, and today we have Taylor-Rae.
Taylor-Rae, last time we talked to her was early 2021, so it's been 4 years. A lot's happened since then, including a move to Nashville, an EP release,
Playing at CMA Fest.
playing CMA Fest, going back to Boots and Hearts. What else? A lot. She just got off a small tour in Alberta with our friend Antonio Larosa, who also sings like an angel. We had a great chat. It turned into a bit of a therapy session, but it was good.
Yep, we talked about her music, the learning curve, and navigating the music industry. Here's our chat with Taylor-Rae. Do 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 do. We are here with a repeat offender on the porch. We're here again with Taylor-Rae.
Who let you back?
Honestly, I don't know. I begged and pleaded to be on this podcast.
I thought it'd be fun to go through, read the episode description of the last time you were with us,
Okay.
and relive the past. This week we have country artist Taylor-Rae join us on the porch. Taylor-Rae is an emerging artist from Alberta and living in BC. Her latest single, Hellbent, is exploding online right now and on a journey to 1 million streams. We got the chance to chat with Taylor-Rae. She also said she answers to the name TR, Taylor, Tay, Thomas Rhett, whatever. We talked about
I don't remember that part.
we talked about her journey to music, her resilience as a performer, broken bones, and not going viral on TikTok. Here's our chat with Taylor-Rae.
The Thomas Rhett thing is hilarious. I didn't read that.
I don't remember that.
I don't really either. That was a long time ago. That was season 1, that was like 4 years ago.
Oh my God. That
Is it
is
actually?
crazy.
And
Wow,
a lot-
look how far we've come.
Look how far we've come.
Look how far you've moved.
A lot has changed in those 4 years.
Yeah, I moved countries, still haven't really gone viral.
Some things different, some things the same.
Some things are different, some things are exactly the same. It's very humbling.
On that note,
So since you were last with us, you've made the move to Nashville. What was the
highlight. Finding a cute ass apartment
Yeah,
in a shipping container.
I feel like the highlight of the move was, well, yeah, my latest move into my new apartment is good because I have a window in my bedroom now, but I feel like the best part of the move has been being like able to throw my hat in the ring down here and not be scared of getting deported.
yeah?
No.
Fair.
I feel like it was just one of those things where I'm like, I kept coming down here and wanted to play and kind of like be a part of the whole scene. And when you're Canadian, you're kind of just like trying to be careful and wait until you have a visa. So then that was kind of like the coolest part of coming down and being like, whoa, you're like doing it or trying to do it, you know?
And you're allowed to.
And I'm allowed to. Even better.
Yeah. So you've been in Nashville for 2 years?
Ish? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It goes by really fast, but I feel like I've been home so much that it doesn't feel like that long, you know?
That's fair. That's fair. You were home recently for the Alberta Plans tour.
I was.
How
I
fun was that?
That was, it was so fun. Like I didn't really know. Antonio had called me and he was like, do you want to do like a little mini weekend tour? And I'm like, sure, I don't have anything else going on. So I'm like, sure, let's see. I mean, hopefully we sell some tickets and whatever. And I think we totaled the weekend out at like 500 hard tickets sold, which was sweet. I mean, I definitely didn't expect that. So it was nice to like actually have people show up and enjoy the show and be able to like present your own show, because typically we're kind of like on a 25-minute time clock with a festival or something like that. So to be able to just like play and not worry so much about that and get to build the show out the way that I wanted to was awesome.
What would you do next time now that you've done this once?
I don't know if I would change anything. I would probably be like a little bit more organized on like merch and stuff, because we were 2 weeks out and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have, like, we sold our t-shirts out, so then I had to like fast track merch, and we all know that that's not like the most financially stable thing to do, to fast track merch. So I'd be more organized on that sense. But I actually, like, as far as the show goes and all of that stuff and the band and stuff, I would honestly keep everything the same. Yeah.
It looked fun.
It was so fun. I had the time of my life. I was like singing Heads Carolina, and I'm like looking out because we were in Edmonton. I haven't played a show like that in a while, let alone in my hometown. And I was like, am I going to cry? This is like the coolest thing ever.
Heads so Carolina.
Keep it together. But it was awesome.
So no Ontario plans yet. What about BC plans? That could be fun.
I was thinking about BC plans. I was thinking about Ontario plans. Definitely. We're talking about it.
Touring is so cheap. You should just like go everywhere.
I know, it's so cheap. Like free hotels everywhere and stuff like that, you know? I'm just going to crash on your guys' couch, and the band will blow up some air mattresses.
Oh, but the couch isn't free, sorry.
Oh, sorry about that.
So the Alberta Plan's little tour and name came from your single Drunk Plans.
Yeah.
And that was, you released that November of last year?
November 1st, yeah.
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 What's that song? Well, we can guess what that song's about, but like, just tell us about Drunk Plans. And then we should have started sooner of the evolution, but that's okay. Let's talk about Drunk Plans.
It's always so weird when we're talking to our friends.
Fucking mess everything up.
Are you guys going to edit this out and clean this up a little bit?
No, Jason, are you?
We're not. Jason.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know I make a lot of plans when I drink. And so I had walked into the room with Kelly Prescott and Tori Toulier, and I was like, I really want to write this song called Brunch Plans. I didn't know like what it entailed, but I'm like, I'm always making brunch plans every single time I go out. And then we were talking about the planning, and I'm like, oh yeah, like I've planned trips. I've done that all. And so Kelly had thrown out the idea of Drunk Plans, and I'm like, you know what? That really just like wraps it up in a nice little bow. But yeah, it's just really about making empty promises, which when I drink, I do. So.
I think we all do that. It's a pretty relatable song.
Are you stressed about the plan you half wrote in your phone for tomorrow? The calendar
plan? My God. I've been trying not to think about it. I know I'm going to get a text, and I did start making a plan in my phone the other day, got totally sidetracked, and then went to put in something in my calendar on Sunday morning, and I was like, what was I don't remember what the plan is, so if I don't show up to something, sorry about that.
Making promises that she can't keep.
I mean, don't distract me when I'm making a plan. I gotta write it all down. So, anyways.
Oopsies. Okay.
Can't win them all. Is that just the theme today? Anyways.
Maybe we'll just call it that. Title. You can't win them all?
Yeah. Can't win them all.
There's no broken bones clickbait this time, I don't think so.
No.
I mean, I broke my bone in your town.
You did.
That was so wild.
Yeah.
That was wild. And I remember my mom was looking at your ankle. She was like, that's really bruised. You're like, no, it's just
self-tanner.
We've told this story probably 3 times now on this season, and we're in episode, 5?
I know, that's so bad.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well, it's reminiscing with Parker.
Allie.
Allie, because we went to Allie's house and she's like, "Do you need to put your foot up?" And I'm like, "I don't think so." Sitting on your couch, and you're like, "You need to put your foot up."
Me sitting in urgent care waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what though? Urgent care is like pretty zippy, so that was good.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have a choice. My insurance company was like, "You go there or you pay." So.
Oh, so you had to.
Yeah, and it was great.
I mean, yeah, that was.
What a trip.
And it wasn't even like a cool story. You're like, I was just walking down the street.
It was funny. It was me, Jenna, Park, Gray. We're walking down Broadway. We're talking. Look back to the front. Hear a little bit of a calamity. Look back. Jenna's gone.
I could have been stolen and you wouldn't have.
Look back, and then I looked back, and she's face planted on the pavement.
Oh, glad you didn't get a photo of that.
Well, Parker and I first laughed.
I did too, and then I couldn't get up and was like, "Uh-oh."
You need like a life alert badge.
And then we met you at Garth Brooks anyways, and there's like 100
Had
steps to go up, so.
Tequila, yeah. Well,
Oopsies.
and then you walked home on it. So
All the way home.
And then scaled our building to get up into the room.
yeah.
Anyways,
Interesting.
crazy
Wow.
experience.
That was a fun first time in Nashville for me.
Yeah, you can't make good decisions all the time.
No. Not. Okay, we talked about drunk plans first instead of going back because last time we talked to you, well, the deets of the episode say Hellbent, and I think Are You Still Up is out, and you've released a whole EP since then. You had the Honest EP come out. You've had a billboard in Times Square.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Did
I know.
you?
That was like last year at this time, I feel like, or was it a little bit?
It was,
later?
well, yeah, it was May, whenever, I think I released Honest in April last year. So yeah, almost a year ago.
I can't remember. Did you go to New York to see it?
No,
No.
I kind of didn't really know what to expect with that. It was so cool, but it's weird that like so much has happened since we last
I know.
spoke about this.
Does that make you feel good? Because you're like, sometimes you're like, nothing is changing, nothing is moving. Then you're like, oh shit, that's a lot of things that have happened in 2 years.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, when you were saying Hellbent's on the road to 1 million streams, and I'm like, at that time, I'm like, I can't even fathom like that would happen. And now I'm like, here we are.
It's not the only song that hit 1 million streams. Like your catalog's probably
Yeah.
closer to what? Is your catalog getting close to 10?
Like 6.
6?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Say that again so we don't have the 10, me saying 10.
Yeah.
Your catalog's almost at what?
We're almost at like 6 million, I think.
That's crazy.
So cool. I know. Well, I remember I made a joke with Are You Still Up? Because Amazon really like got behind that song. And I made a joke at London CCMAs where we kind of met, right? Yeah. And I made a joke to my mom. I was like, oh yeah, maybe we'll get it to 1 million. And we just kind of like laughed it off. Because we're like, yeah, right. Like I'm not going to get 1 million streams. And then Are You Still Up just like kept going and going and going. It was crazy. That song, I feel like, kind of just like was the turning point a little bit.
Crazy.
Yeah, really crazy. So, I mean, it's cool to look back now, I guess. You're right. I mean, we talk all the time, and I'm like, oh, nothing's going on or whatever. Like, it's just so easy to be in this, like, mindset where you're feeling like you're not doing enough. But, yeah, when you look back, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, right before I broke my foot last year, you were playing at CMA Fest.
Yeah.
That
That was crazy. I feel like that's my most, like, holy shit, I'm in Nashville kind of moment when I got that email. And I remember telling my family and be like, you guys, I got into CMA Fest. I made this, like, big announcement in Montreal when we were there watching my sister play hockey. And they were like, cool. They didn't know what it was. And I'm like, you guys have been wanting, like, grew up wanting to play this festival. So it was pretty funny. And then my mom ended up flying down as you guys know, and we had a hoot. We had like a day where she was like, I feel like we're famous today. And like, yeah, we're having such a famous day. Like, what a hoot. And then the next day we wake up and we're like standing in line for something. She's like, well,
That
it was a
wears
good
off.
day when it lasted. We're not famous anymore. Glad we soaked it in.
Glad we soaked it in.
That was so cool to see you performing. Like, it was my first time in Nashville, and to see like friends actually on a stage there was really cool. But we were all like, that was also the first thing we did when we rolled into town.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like we
went to your house.
went to your house to freshen up. Well, to
Right.
nap, and it
That's
ended up being
right.
5
I
minutes.
forgot.
Yeah,
You left it
Yeah.
open for us.
Yeah.
And
And
then-
then rocked up.
and then drove down. Like my very first Nashville experience was seeing you perform on a stage.
That's pretty cool.
That is crazy. That
Yeah.
actually is crazy. That was crazy to think about. I'm like, I always, like, having stuff like that, you're like, okay, this is why, we grind it out the way we do and stuff, but trying to, like, you just want to relive it. I'm like, I want to relive, like, getting the email and then getting on stage and being, like, so nervous, even though it's a 20-minute set. You're, like, very able to do a 20-minute set, but it feels just, like, so, like, you really don't want to mess it up, But, yeah, that was
And
cool.
technically, Dolly Parton opened for you if you really
I
want to
mean-
think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally. I know. Yeah, she's just
Right?
like some small independent artist.
Yeah.
Whatever.
she's. I think she has a good career ahead of her.
Yeah, really bright future. But it was funny, like it was interesting, like because then they put out like you had a meet and greet time right after the set, and I'm like, that's just such a funny thought to me that people would come to my meet and greet. Like, not that you guys showed up because you can find it, but
Yeah, no, we wanted to come meet you.
yeah. But it was just like the craziest, I don't know, it was just the craziest thing. I'm like, that's so interesting. And I always think, I'm like, I remember when I got out of the car, like we rocked up to the valet parking and I'm like pulling up in my little Mazda and I look to the side and there's just this wall of people and somebody's like, Taylor-Rae. And I'm like, what? Who? And I thought maybe I would know them. And then I didn't know them. And it was just like mob mentality. People are like, we don't know who this girl is, but like, we should probably get a picture.
Somebody does, so that's important. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like going down the line next like Jamie O'Neill, who I'm such a fan of. And it was just like the craziest thing. And I'm like, I know you people don't know who I am, but I don't even care. Let's take a
It just
photo.
takes one person yelling your name.
That's it. I know. And I still
Next
don't know
time-
who that person was. I'm like,
Next time I see you somewhere, I'm gonna go, Taylor-Rae!
And then all of a sudden people swarm.
yeah, exactly. Let's just cause a stir. Fake it till you make it. Stop it.
That hurts.
That hurts.
So since playing CMA Fest, like, did that kind of feel like a bit of a turning point for you down there, or like what's it been like since that time?
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where it's like you can do all these things in Canada, but it's just such a different world down here. So trying to find your little spot for success, I guess, kind of as you go. Like CMA Fest was definitely the thing where now I feel like I can be down here and be like, oh yeah, I played CMA Fest and have like some legitimacy to what I'm doing, if that makes sense. And so yeah, I definitely think that was a turning point. And honestly, like becoming a part of like the Song Suffragettes and stuff like that, where just stuff that I always looked up to and was like, wow, like that is so cool that people get to be a part of that. And then now to be a part of it is, I think it helps down here, but it also is kind of one of those things where you're like, okay, I am like on the right track, kind of. A little windy, but
For those listening that don't know, can you describe what the Song Suffragettes is?
It's Logan.
yeah, so it's
I
a
don't even know what it is.
It's a female writers round every Monday at the listening room, and the suffragettes have been around for quite some time now, but it's kind of like harnessed some of the best talent in Nashville, basically. And there's been so many people who have like found success out of there, like Megan Maroney and like that kind of leveling up. It's just like a really cool network to be a part of, and that was really one of my big goals moving here was to become a part of that. And I had applied a million times, and then it kind of just like worked out. I think I heard on like a Thursday, and they're like, hey, somebody like dropped out. Can you come in and play on the Monday? And I was like, yeah, I'm happy to be a default. Let's go. But then I went into panic mode because I'm like, and that's something I'm trying to work on, where I really wanted to do well and go up there and kind of like showcase the best I could. And I was so scared of messing up that I'm like, I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I should have. And I'm like sitting there next to Carolyn Dawn Johnson, who I just grew up obsessed with. And I'm like, why are you not just soaking this in, you know? And so I'm trying to be more like conscious about really soaking it in. But
It's actually very crazy because then was that before or after you wrote with Carolyn?
before,
And that song's not out yet.
I know.
But doesn't she sing background on that song for you?
Yeah. She sang background on Sending Myself to Church too.
Oh, did she?
There's like a big riff and high note like right after the breakdown in that song, and that's her.
That's wild.
Yeah. It was
Carolyn Dawn Johnson is your backup singer. Dolly Parton opened for you. Taylor-Rae, good lord.
She's so good. Like, Carolyn is unreal. And I remember when we played Suffragettes, I was kind of like, man, and I had this idea for the song, Well Heaven Right Now, which will be coming out a couple months-ish. And I wanted to give you an actual date, but my life so I'm like, I'm not organized enough for that. But I had texted her, and I'm like, I'm just gonna shoot my shot, because I felt like she would be like the perfect person to write it with. And so when she said she would write it with me, I was like, oh my God. And I was so organized going in there, because I really didn't want to. I was like, this cannot be the day I get writer's block. Like, I can't look dumb in front of Carolyn. Like, she's the coolest. So yeah, it was so cool.
Do you think what I've started to do when I'm like, this isn't cool anymore, some of this stuff that we get to do, I'm like, what would Jenna 5 years ago think? Or what would Jenna like 10 years ago think? Like, these people that you're such a fan of, and you're like, do that like younger version of you justice and like be in the moment.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard sometimes, but it is true. I'm like, definitely, you have to be kind of conscious about it, right? Because then you're doing all
you
these...
just like suck all the joy. You like when you're like too hard on the hustle, you're like, I forgot to enjoy all of that.
You're chasing the result and not getting and not enjoying the process.
Yeah. The process.
Yeah, this is turning into a therapy session.
Yeah, this is good. I just have benefits down here. No, it is true. I thought that last year at Boots, I was so nervous because you want to do so well. And I was talking to my mom. It was actually funny. She's like, Tay, literally, what do you have to lose? I'm like, you're right. Not a whole lot. I have nothing to lose. Like, you know, you're kind of just like building, but like, what's the worst that's going to happen? It's not like you're going to absolutely like bomb. You might as well enjoy it. And you're never better when you're nervous, which isn't, even though we get so nervous. So I'm like, there's a healthy adrenaline kind of nerve, but then once you move past that, I'm like, this isn't productive anymore. So it is interesting.
I forgot about that fond memory.
You were running with my boots.
Those goddamn boots.
First of all, I'm surprised the police weren't after me because I ripped into that parking lot so fast.
Well, yeah.
Let's back it up and explain what you're talking about.
Well,
Okay, so I ordered a
Taylor-Rae
pair.
is really good at planning her outfits ahead of time.
I know, I'm terrible. I'm actually terrible. The fact that they even ended up on my feet,
On your feet?
the time I walked on stage was insane. I ordered these boots off of Free People. Free People shipping is always delayed, just so everybody knows. So they say it's going to arrive Wednesday. It's going to show up Friday. And yeah, so I ordered these boots, and I'm like tracking them through Ontario, and I kept calling and be like, can you just leave them where they are? Like, can you just not take them anywhere?
The amount of times you text me, are they at your house yet? Are they at your house yet? Are they at your house yet? Because I live like 5 minutes away from the venue. I'm like, they're not. I'll let you know when they're here.
They never made it there. Oh, they did make it there, and nobody answered the door, so they took them.
Yes. And then I was like, can you just leave them where they are? Like, just leave them. So then I ended up going to the UPS center or whatever in, what was that, Barrie?
Barrie.
Yeah.
No, Barrie.
And I walked in, there was nobody there. They were so nice. And then they had talked to this guy and they're like, hey, do you have this package in your truck? And he's like, yeah. And he asked him if he could leave it at the Staples or whatever. And the guy's like, no. And then I was just standing there. I think that guy knew I wasn't going to walk away. He was like, you got to leave him at the Staples. And I'm like tracking Jenna. I'm like, did you leave yet? Did you leave? Like, did you get the boots? Are they there? Anyways, it was a whole situation. The Staples person knew exactly what she was talking about when she walked in the door.
Yep.
And Jenna, we put those boots on my feet, 5 minutes before I walked on stage?
If that?
Yeah. That was.
Did you have a backup plan? or were you going to go barefoot?
Not a good one. Like, I think I would have hated all of my photos had I worn my backup plan. So, yeah, it worked out. It worked out well.
And you know what? That's all that matters. It worked out.
Yeah, I can't believe it did, honestly. That was insane.
It was
But
absolutely crazy. And
bless
somehow...
the gods and Jenna. What?
And Jenna.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild. And then I left and didn't see you in the SiriusXM barn. I missed that.
I know. Well, that was the next day, right? Yeah, you had a wedding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I understand it. But that was, the SiriusXM barn was so cool. I kind of didn't know what to expect. It was almost like one of my favorite parts of the whole entire weekend. It was like...
It's always a really cool, like, vibe in that SiriusXM barn.
Yeah, it really was, honestly. And, like, it was just such a moment. Like, everybody was actually paying attention and stuff like that.
It's a little different than the outside festival.
I'm like, that's a nice change. What's that?
It's a little different than the outside festival crowd.
Yeah, it totally is. Like, it's just not as intimate. And I think getting to actually, like, look people in the eye and, like, speak and have, like, people engage, it was, yeah, that was really cool. It was super special. Yeah.
Okay, so since Boots, you've also put out Bittersweet. Did you have Said It Myself before Boots and Hearts or after?
I think before.
After. Oh.
What do we know? Regardless, you're working on a new project, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
You've had a few singles out, one upcoming. What's your, like, perception of the new vibe? Because it's obviously a little... I mean, it's not, like, obviously a little different than the Honest EP, but it's, like, telling something different. It's a little sassier. It's a little more, like, I don't give a fuck, so...
Yeah.
Well, I just answered the question.
You
for
love
me.
that. I feel like, I mean, I love the Honest EP and the songs on it and stuff. I do think when I first started writing music, I only started co-writing in quarantine, basically, because I was like, whatever creative thing is supposed to be happening right now, it's not. So I needed to, like, branch out. But then I felt like I kind of, like, backed up on what I kind of, like, why I started writing music. And I think there's just, like, I started writing music because that was the only way I knew how to get out, like, my big feelings. And then, but I was just writing about, like, relationship stuff and all that. And I think with the upcoming project, like, the few songs that have been released off of it already, it's kind of just, like, I think it's just, like, my tongue-in-cheek way of saying a lot of things, which is how I started writing. It was just kind of like that, like, cheeky, like, you know, this person ticked me off the other day, but, like, better go to church so that I don't say something back to them, you know? Like, it's, I don't know if I'm making sense right now, but yeah, I think I'm trying to just, like, get back to why I started writing music. And I think this EP has been, like, a nice kind of, like, lean into that a little bit. And I think you'll see that a lot with, like, Heaven Right Now, which is kind of all about that. But I'm just trying to care less about the outside perspective of things and just, like, care more about what I think of my music.
How has your writing process changed since you started writing in quarantine to now? Or has it changed much?
For sure. Well, I think, like, when I first started co-writing, I was, like, a nervous Nelly. I'm like, ooh, I don't want to say the wrong thing and whatever. And I still get like that sometimes where I'm like, I have an idea, but I know it's really dumb. But now I'll spit it out versus back then I wouldn't spit it out. So I felt like sometimes I would write and I'd walk away with a song, but I'd just be like, it's not my song. where now I'm more prone to be like, well, this isn't the direction I want to go, or this isn't the sentiment I'm trying to get across, or something like that. And I'll steer it a little bit more and feel like I have more power to do that and not feel so like nervous. Like, I hope this person enjoys writing with me, or I hope they think I'm smart or whatever. Like, it depends on the day how smart I am. So I think that's that's normal. Everybody's not smart every day. It's just how it is.
That might be hard for you guys.
Yeah.
I want that might be the title of this episode.
What?
You're not smart every day with Taylor-Rae.
Yeah. Smart every day. Sometimes
We always have trouble coming up with funny titles, and you're just popping them out.
Yeah, so I think like my process has changed in the way that I'm trying to get back to like how I was writing when I would just solo write all the time. And I would write something down and it would say exactly what I wanted it to say. It would mean exactly what I meant for it to mean, and it didn't get like lost in the fray. And I think how my process has changed, because I went through a little dip where I kind of was just like, go with the flow. I don't want to, seem stupid. But we're back. We're back, and I seem like that sometimes, for sure.
I can see how that would be like a hard trap to fall into, or an easy trap to fall into, I mean. Because like, especially if you're writing with people who have written for years, it's like, well, they obviously know better, so that, that they can just do their thing.
And people that you like look up to, and you go into a room with them and you're like, well, I don't want to like go against that, because they know what they're doing, even though it's like, yeah, as an artist, and kind of like we've been talking about, you get to the places you're going and then you kind of forget how far you've come. And like, I have gotten to where I am, which I still feel like I've just like the longest way ever to go, but I have gotten to where I am because I've trusted my gut, and because I've, am on a track that I think I have a voice and I have things to say, and I think I have the talent to do it. And so like trusting that you have the talent to walk into a room and write productively and not feel like backed into a corner like a little mouse.
Also, if you stayed that way in Nashville, you would be gone home by now, probably.
Oh yeah.
Like, you would have been chased away.
No. Nashville's no joke. I definitely, like, I knew it was going to be hard moving here, but it definitely is harder than I thought it was going to be. Like, it's a grind, and there's a ton of talent. But I think it's made me better. Like, this music that I'm releasing now, I'm like, I probably would have never released that in Canada. I would have been like so kind of like distracted by the outside voices and like, this is what we want from you, and don't sing as loud, or don't do this, and blah, blah, blah. Where like down here, I'm like, you're not getting anywhere by just like blending in with the rest of everybody. Like, what's winning down here is people being themselves and like committing to their originality, and there's a strength in that. And I think that's where I'm at now, where I'm like, this project I think is kind of like a big lead in that for me, and then the next one even more so. It's just like a constant evolving, I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
like chasing a trend is never, like chasing someone else's sound is never gonna do anything. Like,
Chasing a trend is okay if it's on TikTok
yeah,
for views.
Exactly. Like, I didn't want to release any music that I didn't love. Like, every song on this like little EP I love, and I love whatever a year and a half later after we've like recorded it and done all that stuff, where there's a couple songs I've released where I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever put that in the set list. Like, I just don't love it, So I was just trying not to like fall into that again and pay too much attention to what everybody else wants, kind of. So at the end of the day, you give them what they want, they still don't do anything with it.
Oh, yes. I think I never heard the word fickle until you used it in our first episode, but I think that's the easiest way to describe the Canadian music industry. It's quite fickle.
Totally. I mean, yeah, I think any like creative industry is fickle because it's so subjective. And then they'll be like, you did this, we liked it, but we'll forget about it tomorrow. And then it's like, yeah, at some point you just have to stop giving a shit as much, which easier said than done. For sure. Some days I wake up, I'm like, I don't even care. And then I'm like, I'm lying. Of course I care. I care a lot, but trying to like fight the urge to care. Does that make sense?
Or to like redirect the care.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. So, whatever.
Okay.
Shall we go through your, our new little segment here that we've still yet to name halfway through our season, but where we go through the artist's catalog of music and kind of get the vibe check on where you were at in life when the song came out, what the song meant, all that kind of fun stuff.
Oh my god, I'm looking at the cover for Nashville and it's so cute. Look at you.
Oh, Nashville. Okay, I actually still love that song. I would re-record that, I think.
I was just gonna say, you've literally said this a bunch of times that you would re-record that song.
Oh, I really have. I really love that song.
This was in 2018.
Oh, God. We're going that far back?
How much did you know about music and stuff back then?
Nothing. Literally nothing. I remember being on the phone with my dad, and I was like, I don't really know what to do. Like, we were playing this bar in Vancouver called the Roxy, and we were playing it, like, so much, and I was kind of like, what am I doing? Like, how am I going to progress or whatever? And I remember being on the phone, walking home from work and be like, do we like record something? And where do we do that? What do we, I knew nothing. I had like all these songs that I had written alone in my apartment. And like, yeah, I knew nothing to sum it up. So yeah.
That's a cute song though. Were you at school? That was when you were in BC, in Vancouver for school? For when Nashville came out?
Yeah.
That's a cutie.
Yeah. It's crazy. I had decided I was moving to Nashville. And then, so I broke up with my boyfriend. And then I didn't move to Nashville. And then we stayed broken up.
Oops.
You could say it wasn't meant to be. I don't know.
You could say it wasn't meant to be. Ouch. There's an album missing. I'm gathering that's not there anymore. Wait, where are the album? There it is.
Yeah, I was like, I literally see it.
The panic in your eyes was like, it shouldn't be gone. It should be there.
And he was like, that's probably a good thing if it is.
Deep cuts. What about Sad for a While?
Oh, yeah. Okay, we're going this deep. Are we sure we want to direct attention to this? Okay.
For a second. We won't pick another one off that.
Sad for a While is, well, I was having a conversation with my mom. She was like, Tay, it's fine. I was like homesick. And she was trying to give me advice. And I was like, I'm just trying to be sad. Like, just let me be sad. Because she's always like, well, you gotta, we were talking about this the other day. She's like, you gotta find like happiness from within. And I was like, what does that even mean? What is, like, I'm like, I'm aware happiness has to come from within, but like, how do you do that all the time? Like, that's not a tool. So anyways, so we were laughing about that the other day and we're like, yeah, but I used to, yeah, I was like, just want to be sad for a while. I don't know. Like, instead of kind of trying to get me out of it, I'm like, just be there. I think that is important to just like be there for people. So that's me, like sad girl writing sad for a while alone in my apartment while like I knew my parents and family were all having like a karaoke party back home. And
Let's fast forward from there to 2021 when you released Hellbent.
Yeah, Hellbent. I still didn't know anything about the industry, but I knew that I'd started working with a couple people and I took Hellbent as a pitch song. And I had originally been like, no, I only want to write my own music, whatever. But it said I'm a hurricane in the chorus. And I think we talked about this before where my parents always call me Hurricane Tay, like, oh, Hurricane Tay's coming to town. And it just like the chorus hit me and I'm like, I have to record this song. I had my email like typed up once I got off the plane. And yeah, so Hellbent was, I think, like my first kind of debut into like the actual industry, if that makes sense. Because I really wasn't a part of the industry at all. I wasn't a part of the associations. And I feel like when you're not a part of the associations, you're kind of just like in no man's land. It's kind of what it felt like.
Is there a school bus in that music video?
Yeah.
Am I remembering that? Okay.
Well, yeah, that's part of the lyrics too, like the
Yellow.
Yellow.
Yellow painted on the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That song, like, when it comes on the shuffle, I can't skip it. It's fun. It's very fun.
I still love playing that song. Like that is, we open the show with it, and it's a freaking hoot. It's so fun.
Freaking hoot.
I think actually, is Nobody's Knocking the funny one that randomly just started getting...
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Then let's talk about that one just because of that, because it's so funny.
It's so funny. Nobody's Knocking is just like a song about nobody. Like I was so single for so long, and I'm like, damn, nobody is knocking on this door. And so I wrote this song, just like a little shuffle beat, whatever. And it started like randomly picking up steam on streaming and on YouTube and stuff like that. And I was like, why is this song doing something? Like years later. And I looked it up, and
It recently started to...
Like
kick on.
2023. I think it was 2023, because I was sitting on your couch, and you're like, you'll never believe this, look.
Yes. And there's like this line dance in Spain that kind of like started doing well-ish. And so Nobody's Knocking is still like it's one of my most Shazam songs. Like it's so funny and so random. The line dance thing is real. And I actually looked it up, and there's line dances for like If This Is Love, which is an interesting one.
Oh, that's a slow one.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. So
We've talked to a couple artists who have had some like real success in the line dancing world. Like Aaron Goodwin, Dan Davidson. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe you should make Spain plans. I'm happy to like come help with the tour for sure.
Okay, great. You know what? I thought about that. There is a festival.
I'll get Spanish up on my Duolingo.
That'd be what? Yes. Yeah. I've restarted my Duolingo Spanish 18 times. It's very short-term memory. So
I'm on like a 30-day streak right now, and that's the longest I've ever had.
I accidentally paid for premium. I don't know how it happened. So I paid $130 for a year of Duolingo, so now I have to learn something.
And how are you doing on it?
What are you learning?
Did you even start it?
La Francais.
You're learning French?
Uh-huh.
You know what? That's probably good.
Yeah.
I saw her attempt French last year when we went to Festival Country à Lobinière. It was not good.
I was a mute.
Genuinely, one of my least favorite things is watching somebody who doesn't really know how to speak a language try to speak a language to people who speak the language.
I speak French, not amazingly.
He literally got down with the locals, no problem. Took 5 seconds for him to be like, "Oh, I do remember everything."
Yeah, I used to be fully bilingual.
You still are.
Okay, whatever. But I've never seen Jenna not talk that much in my life. She was a literal mute.
All we gotta do is take her to France or Quebec.
Like, we'd be at the bar at the festival, and they'd be like, in French, what would you like? And she'd be like, you do it.
I got so scared.
Here.
Yeah. Yeah, made me sad. In Quebec, I was like, this is dropping out of French in grade 11 pisses me off right in this moment.
No, my parents put me in French immersion like in kindergarten, and like back when that was a thing, it was like you only learn French in school. They don't teach you any English, so then I didn't know how to speak English. Like, and my parents don't speak any French, so like I had a little French accent.
What?
Yeah. I ended up getting kicked out of the French program.
Logamile.
Yeah, my teachers called me Logamile.
Oh my gosh! And you didn't know? You didn't know how to speak English?
I mean, obviously,
he doesn't know it. To this day,
I still don't. But
having a conversation. I'm like, you don't know how to speak English?
No, like I got kicked out of the English program out of the French program because my English was so bad. Like in grade 9, they were like, you need to learn how to speak what your parents speak.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about If This Is Love, because that was like a good song.
Yeah.
And that was a great cover outfit, if I say so.
Thank you.
You helped choose it.
There's mine.
She did say, she was like, you should wear a red velvet suit in the photo shoot. And I was walking through the mall and saw a red velvet suit, and I put it on, and I'm like, how did she know?
Meant to be.
So good. Yeah, If This Is Love is one of my favorite songs, I think, that I've ever written and gotten to sing. It's
Mine too.
Yeah, I just love it. I feel like that was a song that I'm like, people were like, well, you're singing too high, too much, or whatever. And I was like, well, I really like it though, so I'm going to put it out. And then that was kind of my first song to do like anything at country radio. And so then I think that was my big like trust your gut turning point. Stop like caring so much and listening so much to everybody else, because that's still the song that like, if I'm playing a show and stuff, that's the song that people know. That one and Are You Still Up, which is so funny. So, yeah. If This Is Love, I still didn't know anything about the industry, if we're still going there. But I was figuring it out more.
That was, I think, that year that it came out. It was one of my top top songs that I streamed on Spotify Wrapped.
Really?
I think I texted you this too. Right, kind of when it came out, I was out west skiing, and something weird happened to my Spotify where it was literally the only song that would play, like while I was skiing, from like the top of the mountain down.
I rigged it. I was like, I need more streams.
Like I think it played 25 times just that day.
Beautiful. Well, yeah.
I won't lie, I didn't listen to it for a little bit after that, but
I love that song. I remember we were in Florida, and we had just landed in Florida, and I got a text from Boomer, and she was letting me know that I got One to Watch with Rogers. And I remember calling you at a check stop, and I was like, Jenna, we got One to Watch, and we just like freaked out together. It was so fun. Yeah.
So fucking sick.
that's so cute.
So cute.
Okay. Let's talk about Bittersweet, because that would be really stupid not to, because it's your current single.
Can you imagine?
Still doesn't know anything about the industry. Still trying to figure it out.
Honestly, I know less now. Bittersweet.
Learning.
Bittersweet's a fun one. I think it's so true. Like when you get out of a relationship and stuff like that, like that soft shoe, if the person knows like, oh, like we're for sure not getting back together or something like that, but they're like, right person, wrong time. Like it's not you, it's me. Like that kind of bullshit. I'm just like, let's just cut it off. You know what I mean? Like let's not dilly dally here if we know exactly where this is ending up. So yeah, I really like that song. That one was a really fun one to record, and it's been really cool to play it out. We played it out for the first time at the Alberta Plan's little mini tour, and I like it. A little more upbeat, you know?
I love Bittersweet.
Yeah, I really like it, and I don't know anything about the industry.
I hope.
Just leave it at that. I don't know anything.
I learned recently there's this thing, it's like the U thing. I don't remember what it's actually called. Imagine a U, and when you're first starting something, you think you know so much about it, and then the more you learn about it, you're like, wow, I don't know anything about it. And then you slowly start to make your way up where you actually know things.
How long am I going to be in this bottom part?
I don't know.
Because I feel like I'm in that way about almost everything in my life.
I'm with you, though. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
but
this therapy session's
that
still
must mean
going.
you know a lot about it. Because you feel like you don't know anything.
Yeah. Until someone starts asking questions and they're like, oh, I actually do know some things. Here we go.
Yeah, it was so interesting. I got invited to do this like master class kind of thing in Edmonton in January. And it was interesting, like for myself, I was like, well, I don't know anything. Why am I doing this? But then you get like chatting and I'm like, actually, all of my experience does have some merit to it.
Value, yeah.
Feeling like you're like trying to climb out of a hole and all that. You learn a lot doing those things. So it is interesting when you actually like talk about it and then you're like, oh, I do know things. Kind of.
Okay. This is enough.
This therapy session
Too much
is over.
therapy. Okay. What's upcoming and exciting for you? I don't know if you want to share anything fun that you might be working on. in the form of visuals or other things?
Yeah, we did just record all the EP acoustic versions, which I'm so excited about. We like my dream was always to bring in like a choir and stuff like that. And so I ended up flying to Vancouver and brought in like this beautiful gospel choir, and it was just like all my singer dreams coming true. So those will be kind of dropping over the next little bit leading up to the EP, which I'm super stoked about. So I feel like that is actually probably one of my favorite things I've done this year so far, was get to record those acoustic videos.
And it's only March.
I know. That's true.
I've actually done a bunch of things this year, like fun recordings, the masterclass situation. That's great. Tour.
You know, yes.
When is the EP? When do you think the EP is going to come out? Approx? Summer? Later? Fall?
Uno momento. May.
Oh.
May.
Ooh, that's so soon.
I know. Crazy. It kind of feels like a whirlwind when you actually just like get releasing music. Normally I'm so disorganized. And this year I'm like, wow, we're actually like putting it together, and this isn't going to take me 4 years to release.
Sweet.
That's great.
Yeah. So that'll be good. I feel like acoustic videos too are so cool. Like that's always been one of my favorite things. Like if I had to choose between doing a music video and acoustic video, I'm going acoustic video every time. But
yeah, your acoustic video for Hellbent is a good watch.
Yeah, I actually filmed these with the same people.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, I loved them. I was like, whatever you do, like, just don't give me like an upward angle, you know? And he was like, totally got it. And I'm like, you know what? Anybody who gets that, I'll work with forever.
Okay, so we'll have an EP to look forward to in May, some fun acoustic videos dropping, and maybe some acoustic tracks, and that will be super exciting to get us into the summer.
Yeah, and then we have to do it all over again.
Yep.
Hooray.
Right.
All right, Taylor-Rae, thanks for rejoining us 4 years later, which sounds crazy to say.
Let's not wait 4 years until the next time.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
4
available.
years is enough. Did you say I'm available?
Yeah, see you in another 4. Well, more to talk.
Thanks for listening to another episode of On The Porch with Front Porch Music. We're so lucky to be able to chat with artists and make episodes like this one. If you like the podcast, remember to rate and review us, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. It's the easiest way to support the show. Remember to check out frontporchmusic.ca to keep up with new music releases, exclusive artist interviews, and more. We'll catch you again on The Porch in a couple of weeks. On The Porch is hosted by Logan Miller and Jenna Weiser, and produced and edited by Jason Saunders. That's me. Our theme song was written, produced, and performed by Owen Ridley.